Tapping in with us today is someone who grew up surrounded by gang culture with no positive father figure and brothers in and out of jail. To prove herself, she joined a rival gang and became a young mom while living that life. Everything changed when she learned her mother only had 2 weeks to live. She turned her life around, started helping the youth, and landed her big break, making an impact not just in the streets, but also on the set. Please welcome the founder of URA Entertainment, better known as From the Streets to the Set, Berenice Molina.
Hey guys. Hey.
We don't have the sounder going on right now because Rene's filling in. By the way, shout out to Rene for filling in because Russ left us.
Wait.
Andy left us.
Let's get it right. Russ is no longer here.
That's right.
Russ, if you guys really want to know what happened, is I strangled him and I put him in my locker.
Unfortunately,
so, you know what I mean? And since with this a Hollywood theme here, I just wanted to bring that up. So, joking, shout out to Russ. He couldn't make it, so I'm filling in for him.
Yeah, he had some sort of event to go to down in the SD. So
he's getting drunk.
I think he thought I was going to bring some of the gang members.
I think he got scared.
Yeah.
I think he got scared. You're probably right. That little no, I'm just kidding. No, thank you so much for joining us. I know, again, we always try to ask this from every guest is like, how far was your drive?
It was an hour and 32 minutes. So, yeah.
I just want you guys to know something that she literally drove an hour and 32 minutes to come kick it with us.
Yeah.
So you guys better appreciate this, show some love, like, subscribe, because I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I'm
for
just
sure.
saying.
Yes,
No, that's a long drive. And it's from where in LA?
Hollywood.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you really live in that Hollywood life, huh?
Born and raised in Hollywood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Whereabouts?
So in the dead end, the ones that know on Harold Way and Western, so between Highland and Sunset, there's a little street called Harold Way, and there's a dead end. And I was there till I was 16 years old, and my mom, she wanted to get me out of the hood, and she thought going to the MacArthur Park area was the thing to do, and she brought me into another hood.
As the saying goes, from Guatemala to Guatepeor.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But those are.
So how was that change? I mean, you go from your neighborhood to just a whole different neighborhood
So same community in the aspect of you have my neighborhood in Hollywood, a clique there, and then another clique at MacArthur Park. So I think just the dynamic that changed was the living situation, and Hollywood, we had a 1-bedroom apartment. We were all crumpled in and stuff. There was a lot of us. And over here, my mom upgraded to a 3-bedroom house. So,
when she moved to MacArthur.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it was
a little bit of
I was like, okay, I get my own room. I mean, not technically because I became a teen mom, so I had to share it with my little boy. But it's better than being cramped up, right, in a 1-bedroom. But yeah, so to her, that was an upgrade, and I'm grateful for it.
Now, when you say cramped up, how many siblings did you have, or do you have?
So, in total, counting my dad's and my mom's, it's 11 of us.
Oh!
Yeah. But in the
this
same
was 11
household,
of you guys?
No. So,
okay.
Okay.
Right away, she's like, no.
No. No, but I mean, it might as well have been. No, so it was my 3 older brothers that came from Mexico, my younger brother, myself in that one apartment. Then on my dad's side, my dad was a descarado. So he moved from apartment 9 to apartment 3 and then had his whole other family downstairs. Yeah. So,
in the same apartment complex?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, descarado.
So
in that area, that's kind of like, that's always like a thing over there. I kind of noticed that.
Yeah. And
damn, no shame in his game.
Yeah, and I'm half Mexican, half Salvadorian.
Oh.
And I think sometimes, and don't hate me, but if you're gonna keep it real, in the Central American community, it's a lot of, mucho descarado. But yeah, I think for the most part, it worked because I got to see my dad, even though he wasn't like the best role model at showing me what a relationship or a husband would be, But I mean, my parents did the best they could. I don't have no ill feelings. I've learned to forgive, see them for who they are and what they were given. So yeah, forgiveness came years after, but
Yeah.
I get
I
to
feel you
say
on
that. Yeah, I get to say that. I'm, I'm tight with all my siblings. I love them. We lost one 2 years ago, our first sibling that we lost, and
So recent.
yeah, and but other than that, I mean, we're tight. We're tight. We're very
Yeah,
united.
it's a big family.
Well, I will say that I thank my mom for her values, and her value was family overall. I disliked my siblings with that other woman. Growing up, I was a daddy's girl. So
Yeah.
when he left, it was like, what the heck? But thanks to my mom, she was like, hey, you know what? No tienen la culpa de esos niños. They're your siblings. Your dad is your dad no matter what.
Wow, for her to even say that and not
Yeah.
hold that type of grudge, because most Latinas,
Oh, yeah.
they're like, que se la pinche chingadas,
Oh, no,
and
and
all that. But
we-
she kept it cool. Like,
we were actually a blended
respectful.
family because my dad started bringing this other lady to our family events.
Okay.
I mean, if we keep it 100% all the way, she was part of the family before she became part of the family. So I grew up
Dang.
witnessing incest. So that's where
Very interesting.
I come from, and that's why my mom couldn't go back or forgive. She's like, I can't compete with family. Like, that's just, if it was another woman I'd have to ever see, cool, but it is. And so from there, it was more like learning the forgiveness part, and that's where rebellious Berenice came. The knowing how to keep secrets Berenice came.
But the rebellion part of Berenice was because, was it because of a lack of attention towards you? Is it because your father just was not present?
The
even though he
attention
was
had
there?
to be divided now.
Yeah.
I went from being the spoiled one to now there's 4 other siblings that time and attention is being divided to. So it was a lot of, I'll be here and not showing up. And that's not what I was used to. So it was like the abandonment issues started at age 6. And
that's
from
early.
there, oh yeah. And from there, obviously the patterns will show, as time went by and progressed, that I started seeking my dad in all the wrong places. And that's where all my toxic relationships came from, and needing the need to be needed and loved and validated. And I ended up in a bigger hole than I desire any woman to go through,
Do you mind speaking a little bit on that?
No, not at all. I mean, I've done a lot of healing, so now I could talk about things like this.
Which is good.
Yeah,
That's good.
And I do believe in God, and I believe that He turns your pain into purpose. And so, yeah, I became a mom at 15. Then I became a mom again at 19. So I was a teen mom twice, 2 different baby daddies, older than me, and I was in the end game to trying to fix a man, but I think that goes, now that I'm a woman and I've done a lot of healing, I think I can't knock a girl for having that thought, because that's girl mentality, not a woman's mentality, but a girl's mentality. Either you have a kid to keep a man, or you're ride or die to
And
prove.
that's the thing too, is that when you have a kid together, your purpose now is to keep that foundation.
Right.
But at the same time, you're trying to figure yourself out at such a young age.
Right.
But yeah, at the same time, you're trying to keep this man, trying to change him.
Yeah.
So that must have been
Yeah,
difficult,
and as
especially
a girl,
as a teenager.
Yeah, and as a teenage girl, you don't think of at what cost.
Yeah.
Because as long as you fall in the pattern of the street lingo that I'm a ride and die for my man, then I'm gonna tolerate. There's a difference between being patient in a man to grow into what he needs to be and being tolerant. And I think a lot of our women become tolerant, and that's why they end up, I know I did, somewhat bitter, resentful, And here's the thing, like I tell women now, if you're doing a lot for that man and you're resenting everything you're doing for that man, there's no love there.
True.
You're doing more of an obligation.
Yeah.
And then, than doing it genuinely.
Especially if they don't show it back, and
Right.
they're just kind of like, she got me this.
Yeah.
But he's not returning that love or returning that compassion. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of resentment.
Yeah, and with time, I just learned that, broken people attract broken people and hurt people. So I was attracting what I thought of myself. So my standards weren't high. So I was attracting men that had mommy issues. I had relationships with men that didn't know how to love themselves. So how was I expected to get that love back if they didn't even know what that felt like for themselves,
right.
So I think the mistake that we do is we believe that person has what we are in need to fill that void, and they feel that we have to fill that void, and we're both seeking something that is not there because we haven't found it amongst ourselves. So you become disappointed, because you have expectations and you sit in that fairy tale land in your head of what it should be and what could be. And I say I wasn't an addict of substance or anything, but I was an addict of repairing, brokenness. And I did certain things and I expected people to act accordingly, but not everybody has that in them. And not because they're bad people or, they're little bitches and lames. Like, some women want to like call their baby daddies and everything, but let's call it what it is. Like, I saw the red flags. I just ignored them, because I was in need of love. And I don't knock the father of my kids. They're good people. I know their intentions were good. But they're lost boys.
I can understand where you're coming from as far as like, especially like in your position at that time where you're trying to, like I said, you're trying to maintain this relationship, even though you're broken, that person's broken, going through whatever else. And I say this just because my sister went through it too with 4 different baby daddies, and unfortunately none of it worked out.
Right.
But she was broken, and so were they. And their mentality was not family. Their mentality was the streets,
right, as
well as my sister. So I know exactly where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
So, but when it came down to them, were they involved in any gangs?
The father of my
child,
yeah. They were all gang affiliated, all 3 of them.
So they meant, like I said, maybe it's going back to like the same thing with my sister and her men, that their mindset was. Yeah,
well, I think, one of the things I have learned in my healing journey is that you repeat what you don't repair. So therefore, it's a repetition, it's a pattern. And if you don't stop, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result.
Exactly.
And all along, the insanity part, and that women and some men, a lot of men and a lot of women have trouble accepting, is that it stems from you. It starts with you. I can't sit here and shift the blame and point the finger at like, my son's dad and my daughter's dad and my other daughter's dad. And like, because first of all, I picked these men.
Yeah.
That's one, right? And I picked them out of a place of emptiness, of having to fill something. And then also control, because for the most part, I love the fact that when they were incarcerated behind bars, it was perfect, because I knew where they were.
Yeah.
I knew what they were doing. I for sure was going to get a phone call, and they needed me. It became scary when they hit the gates and were free, because now it's like, are you gonna need me? Are you gonna like come look for me? But then it stems from my own insecurity of being left, not only from my dad. I mean, I grew up with 8 brothers, so my brothers started getting incarcerated at a very young age. So there goes another male gone, and another male gone, and another male gone. So you get to a point where you're gonna do everything and anything to keep a man in the house, even if it defines you as putting aside your own integrity, your own dignity, your self-respect.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say, and your own self-respect.
I think at that point, at what point of your life did you say, "Hey, I gotta stop this. I gotta change the narrative because I keep allowing these people to affect me and stop me from being able to accomplish my dreams."
Yeah.
I think what you're saying is so relevant with so many people nowadays that I think at the end of the day, you have to really stop and focus on yourself. A lot of people call it selfishness, but I don't think it's selfishness. I think it's repairing what you need to repair, because at some point in your life, you got to be like, do I really deserve all this stuff? Like,
right.
you know, so I think you've gone through those motions. How many times? Over and over, you know?
A lot. And not only with the father of my children, like other relationships I tried to like hide behind, you know? And I think, I know there was a shift for sure when my mom was diagnosed, you know? She was diagnosed with kidney failure. She was given 2 weeks to live at the hospital. And I remember breaking down, like, the backbone is like leaving, like what, you know? And I remember she sat, this was the type of woman of faith my mom was. She sat at the hospital bed and she's like, "Why are you crying?" And I was like, "Did you just hear the doctor? You know, like, you got 2 weeks." And she's like, "No, la doctora no es Dios. Like, Dios me va a decir cuánto tiempo," you know?
Staying true to her faith.
Yeah. And those 2 weeks turned in 3 more years. And
really?
And then, yes.
Okay.
That's a blessing right there.
Yes. Sure. And in those 3 years, it was like a constant battle for her of like, "Hija, like, no sabes que vales oro," you know, and she never bashed the father of my daughter at the time that I was with. But it was like, este hombre no, you know, si no ha cambiado ahorita ni por su hija, ni por su mamá,
no va a cambiar.
Like, el hombre va a cambiar porque él quiere, no por ti, you know, and all these things. So it was like shooting that wisdom down. But I remember her also telling me, like, "You're going to get tired until you get tired." You know, I could only tell you so much because my mom in her first marriage was physically abused, verbally abused. So she came. So, you know, this toughness, as much as I had a very vulnerable mom, she was tough. And then she raised me from all my brothers to be the tough, like, I know how to change a tire, change my oil, be self-reliant. Because she wanted, like, absolutely her daughter not to be dependent on a man, which was a pro and a con. Because pro, I don't need a man to, you know, be self-reliant. But a con is I became a lot very, like, masculine, that I was never able to just, like, release and be
you don't
taken
allow,
care of.
Even if that person is good to you, you don't
100%.
let that guard down in some
I've
ways.
self-sabotaged some relationships, you know, because I'm like, hell no, there's no way you're like nice because you just want to be nice, you know? But then again, it stems from me.
The good men that are nice.
I know, right?
Yeah, shout out.
We try to
very
be.
few. But, you know, that was a shifting point, because still years went by and I still fell in love with potential, you know? I mean, that's how I ended up married the last 12 years, you know? And then, so I'm recently separated, which is fine. Shout out to him. There's no ill feelings. But our alignment is no longer the same. It's not because he's a bad person or anything. It's just the alignment is different. I'm going a different place. He's going a different place. And, you know, so this has been the relationship that was like, all right, the pattern has to completely stop now, because I did the prison wife thing for years with this last relationship, traveled, neglected my kids. And I'll say neglected, and not because I was a messed up mom that didn't give a shit about my kids, but when you choose to go and travel and spend your weekends to emphasize in a man that you fell in love with his potential and not what he's actually shown you out here, I ended up putting my kids second. You know, it was like, oh, they're with grandma, they're with the they're good. And that's how my son ended up joining the hood, because there wasn't really a time investment as a mother with my children. It was like, I am worried about this man that has been thrown away and thrown the key out, and like his own forgot about him. So let me go feed him some hope. And in the mix, like, I don't regret none of it, you know? Like I said, I believe in God. And if my purpose in that man's life was just to give him hope of some freedom and become a dad, then hey, I fulfilled my purpose, you know.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like I did it all, from prison wife to neglecting to I'm doing the right thing by sticking to my man and my husband now, because now he's not a baby daddy and the homie, he's my husband because I married him behind bars, you know. But things shift, and I think it's okay to understand, and like if there's a woman out there that is resentful in any type of way, like I was, you know, at the beginning, like, oh, ungrateful and whatever, yeah, all those thoughts are there, but I've seen the hand of God in it all, where it's like, hey, like I set you apart to do a mission because, you know, I do from the streets to the set. And I think that sometimes even relationships are a distraction of what your purpose is. And that's all right to admit.
That is very well true in a lot of ways. A lot of ways, for some.
Yeah, for some, you know, and
unless you have that really good, solid, foundation. Support, that no matter what you're, like for example, with my wife doing this, she supports me full on, so as long as you have that, then hey, you can continue your grind.
Yeah.
When you don't have it, makes it very, very hard.
And I'm big on giving credit where credit is due. Like I was telling you in the hallway, like, my husband at the time was very supportive, him being incarcerated and me starting from the streets to the set where it's predominantly all males and males from the hood at that. It was never a jealous moment or like, where are you going? Why are you traveling here? This and that. It wasn't that. I think that there's some people that are comfortable at a level of success. And then there's people like me that I need above and beyond because there's more to do. And so, I'm okay being in certain rooms that I am called to be because I believe that my purpose is bigger. And I'm not going to say I was the easiest person to be married or be in a relationship with, but then again, chapters change in each relationship. And I think with our situation, he stopped reading the chapter. And he got stuck in chapter 1 and 2 of when we evolved. And I wasn't that prison wife anymore that was willing and down to do whatever. It was more,
because now you're trying to evolve.
Woman.
You're trying to evolve to being professional, not just professional, but being a woman of business.
Yeah. And when I say, and not only one component, but I stopped reading that chapter too, because it was like, screw this, like I could do this by myself. And I became mean, and I was dealt with a lot, like losses, and my brother, my aunt, people in my life I had lost in the period. And I'm very good at using people as punching bags, people that I love. And that's part of some of the truth that happened there. But there's a component that after some time I even wrote something that said, like, I've never had someone that was willing to be and stand through it all. Mind you, my son was fully gangbanging when this guy came home. My daughter was struggling with her dad being a heroin addict on Skid Row.
Damn.
These emotional components. We had just lost, then we lost my tia recently, like when he had came home. So now we're dealing with grief. Then I'm planning a quinceañera and about these with my daughter while I'm grieving. And then I'm going, all these things. So then my brother became ill in the hospital and he wasn't married or anything. So I had to make those hard decisions of like pulling the plug or not or whatever. The only carnala, like, well, whatever my sister says. And so when I came home, it was like an eruption of like having to think that he had to guess what I was going through. And mind you, this person's been gone for 12 years, institutionalized. And so like there's times where you didn't even know what he was feeling, and I didn't understand that. But I've learned for a very long time, I blamed myself for it. I beat myself up. I was like, oh, maybe I deserve this, whatever. But you know what? Lately, I've learned to have grace on myself.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, that's something that I've always heard is like there are no regrets in life, just lessons learned. So I think with a lot of what you went through, were pretty much lessons learned.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you too. I know you said your son got involved in a gang. You were also involved in a gang, right?
Yeah.
But as a mother, how did it feel to find out your little boy got involved in a gang?
I felt like a failure, because one thing is you going and doing life-altering things and jacking up your own life type thing. But then when you see your child, going down that road, you're like, and I know it's going to sound very sexist or double standard, but being a male in the hood compared to a female in the hood, obviously there's now these standards and stakes that you have like more of a target behind, on your back. So it was like, when am I going to get a call? Every siren that used to come on passing our house.
You would think that's...
Yeah, and at the time I was doing gang interventions. So when I decided to change my life around, I went back to school and I'm certified in a bunch of things with the state of California, and including gang intervention. And I started advocating in prisons and juvenile halls and sex trafficked youth and DCFS, and working with women on monitors trying to reunify their families, their children. So my son being in the hood, and I was the case manager for GRID at the time for all 4 zones, because that was like the history of GRID, that there was never a woman that could go in all 4 zones, which I was in charge of Rampart 1, Rampart 2, East Hollywood, and Olympic. So every gang you could think of in all 4 zones I was working with. And so they had crisis interventions that when there was a shooting or anything like that, those people would get the calls. And so every time the phone would ring, or I would go and check his bedroom, he's not home, it's 1, 2 in the morning and a siren or whatever, I'm calling, and they already knew I was calling, and they'd be like, it's not your son, it's not your son. So many times, and I'll get emotional with this one, but I felt like I was gonna bury my son. Yeah, I had gang unit, I had officers drop them off at home, calling me to go pick them up, and it was years. And I remember just trying to talk to him, like, why do you got to do this? And mind you, I was 15 when I had my son, and I was chasing broken men, and I wasn't all the way present emotionally. I was there physically and financially, but mentally and emotionally, I don't know how to be a mom at that age. I was still trying to live. So when I used to tell him, like, don't gangbang or don't do this, don't do that, I would get the response of like, oh, now you want to be my mom? Or, oh, now this?
I just had a flashback. I went to the same thing with my mom. My mom was never around. My mom was a heroin addict. She was from Clanton. And I remember my mom would disappear for months on end and then pop up. And my grandma would be like, oh, your mom's here. And I'm like, I don't have a mom. And she'd tell me the same thing. Like, why are you in the calles? Why are you disrespecting your grandma? Who the hell are you to tell me anything? You're never here, Right. So I just literally had that flashback right now, like, of that. And I feel you on that. I think it's harder because you, having them so young, you literally had to learn. Mm-hmm. And then you tried your best. And I think at the end of the day, it's, as a kid growing up in that position, I know what he went through. I know exactly what he went through. That void, the void of a woman being there, and we need our mom's love. I mean, that's the biggest thing, and I'll say it to this day, is I always think back when my mom was on her deathbed and I forgave her. I told her, I forgive you. Right. And I remember that because I remember, all the times you try to show me something differently and try to teach me something differently. I didn't want to hear it. I was like, get out of here. Like, I don't need you. You're never around anyways. What's the point?
Yeah.
So I feel you, and I think you went through that obstacle.
Yeah,
man,
and I can relate to that too. But I don't know what it was. I ran with my neighborhood gang. And I don't mean like, oh, I put in work or anything like that. Nothing like that. 'Cause I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. But I knew them. They were my age. They were going to the same junior high as me. Mind you, my babysitters were gang members, so that's what I knew.
Right.
But for whatever reason, growing up, I didn't get involved in gangs. The unfortunate part was that my sister did. She did get put on, and she was one of those females that if she had to put in work, she would put in the work.
Right.
From my understanding, and like that girl did not. She didn't put up with shit.
Right.
The unfortunate thing was that she got with dudes that just weren't. They were pieces of shit.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, and that's, you know, my mom stepped in as mom. You know, grandma, she loved the shit out of her grandson, and my son didn't start calling me mom until he was 8 years old. I was Berenice growing up. You know, Berenice this, Berenice that, and so when I was trying to save him, it was very difficult because I would hear how much I failed as a mother, how this, how that. And I mean, there now, like fast forward to now, there's just so much that I'm grateful for, in the sense that, again, going back to my spirituality and my faith, like God restored a lot. And one of the things that he restored is the relationship that I have with my son, you know? And until I surrendered and was like, I can't, like, you know, I'm on borrowed time. Like, you know, I go and I would call the homies because he joined my neighborhood. So it was easy to like pick up the phone and be like, hey, where's my kid at? Or where'd you see him or whatever? And they'll bring him home, or the homies are, oh, well, he's with the homie or this or that. So there was always eyes on him, but nevertheless, that agony of like, you know, when
they
am
can
I
have
gonna get the call?
they can have eyes on him, but at the
Right.
end of the day, whatever he's doing, he's gonna get caught up. And God forbid thank God he didn't get caught up.
I mean, I remember going to juvenile hall and taking a packet from a funeral home and telling him like, all right, well, what casket do you want me to bury you in? And he was like, you're tripping. If you came in here to visit me and tell me this shit, like, leave. And he canceled that visit early, and then he didn't see me for the next 2 weeks. He only allowed my brother to go. He would only take a visit from my brother. And
how old was he when he was in?
13.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow, that's young.
So blasted at 13, out there at 13. And I just know that I wasn't a mom in denial. You know, I wasn't like one of those like, ay, mijo, no, like, como, you know, like, I know what I have, you know, and I know what I exposed and what I fed into creating. Like, that's the reality of it. And I just had to give it to him like how it was. And I remember that when it was like a balance of like, I don't want you to do this. But then the homegrown me was like, well, fuck, you're already in the hood, so I'm going to tell you the right way to do this, you know, because you're not going to be like, no, punk, or like do the wrong thing. Or so it was very like double standard and like very conflicting. But, you know, I started from the streets to the set, and he didn't want no part of it. Like, I used to have meetings in my backyard, and homies, you know, I had homies from Florence, from Pacoima, from Bell Gardens, from like all these places, Paramount. And he would walk in and like deliberately without his shirt, because he has the hood on him, and like just dog people and whatever. And I'll be like, no, you could do this. Estás carita. Like, homies would tell him like, hey, you should do it, dog. Like your mom. And like, these are my enemigas. So I had to use that as a teaching, like a lesson at that point, where it was like, if you could point out at any of these homies that are here and tell me that they did something to personally, then at that point they become my enemy too. But is it because they chose to run with a different side of the block that you're thinking this way? Because it's wrong, you know? Like, this is where my teaching came in of like, if we were just united. We are divided out here, but when we go to prison, we're breaking bread with each other. Like, make sense of that shit, you know?
That's what I've always questioned. And a lot of people question that.
That's the biggest thing. I mean, I know that route because, you know, Jefito was locked up my whole life. So I understand that politics. It's funny how that works.
All right.
When you're locked up, it's, hey, you stand together, otherwise you won't get boo-bopped, you know? And that's the way it was. And then as soon as you come back to the streets, it's like,
division.
You know,
it's you know, it's programming of a system, and to keep us under and defeated and, you know, all that stuff. But so until 4 years after that, I just kept pushing, and his third time going to jail, he hit me up and he's like, all right, I'm gonna try this shit your way, but if I don't like it, I'm going back to the hood. And I was like, all right. let's try it. And at the time I was casting for SWAT, and straight from juvenile hall, I went to the set of SWAT after I picked him up.
So he was still a minor then.
Yes,
Okay.
17. The last charge, they threw out the charge because they wanted to charge him as an adult for a bunch of gang stuff and, whatever. But they ended up, one of the cops fucked up. And and one of the things I've always been is not a dumb gangster. So, I knew how to go an angle of like what rights were violated and all these things with my son. So they had no other choice than to drop the charge. And that's when he was like, I'll try your way, but if I don't like it. So going from there straight to set, he's meeting Jay Harrington, Shamar Moore, and everyone's like, oh, you should get into acting. Like, you have a pretty face. You have that actor's face. And this is it. So he started off in a skit with Dinero 100K, which is another homie that I manage, and shout out to him.
He's a rapper, right?
He raps too, but he does more like comedy and humor and stuff. And he did a skit, and I remember it was in my house, and they told my son to put a red mandil on. And he's like,
oh, I'm sure he was not with it.
Hell no. He was like, first of all, it's red.
Yeah.
Second of all, mandil. Like, you tripping, boy. And he was like, bro, who gives a shit? Like, just do it. And let people make fun of you. Who
And
gives a
it's
shit?
true because, and I don't mean to interrupt, but it's, again, like I said, I didn't get involved with any gangs, but I was shown that way.
Yeah.
So for a very long time, I was like, fuck, I ain't gonna wear no red. Mind you, my last name is Red, but I wouldn't touch red for shit.
Yeah.
For the longest. It wasn't until I was like maybe 22, 23, where I finally said, you know what? All right, I'll wear a red shirt.
Yeah. And one of the things that I remember Dinero telling him on set, and also Ricky from Chicago, because I also have a Chicago branch, told him,
You're everywhere.
yeah,
Nice.
thank God. But they said, hey, homie, like, how do you want to be remembered? Like, on a skit or on like a t-shirt that's eventually gonna be put on like somewhere and no one's gonna bring out, And so he did it. He got out of his comfort zone. He did, and then he was getting all these like the feedback and and then he wanted to do another skit, and fast forward to now, it's gonna be 4 years. He's completed 2 years of acting school. He's took lead roles in like plays. He's one of my
Romeo and Juliet play that you guys had, right? Correct?
Yeah, he played Romeo. He carried a whole 2-hour play, like off book.
That's badass.
Yeah, he went from like asking Alex Alfaro, shout out to Chola Vision, Blanca and Alex, like what's Shakespeare or who's Shakespeare, to like carrying a whole on play and selling out all 8 shows and being one of my most requested actors. And recently, not recently, a year, ya cumplió el año that he gave his life to the Lord. And he now uses his platform for his fitness, to talk about positive things.
I seen that. Like I said, I ran into his page and I'm like, okay. I'm
He
like,
just got
oh,
back
this is
from,
her.
what was that? Tibet?
Yeah, he
Himalayan
went
monks.
the
Himalayan monks. I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that
Qatar.
too.
He went on a full
mission,
right?
Yeah.
Journey quest. That's dope. See that? Yeah. I think Dinero said it right. How do you want to be remembered? On a T-shirt,
right?
Or with a legacy standing
yeah.
behind you? I think that makes like people really stop and like, you know what?
Yeah.
Damn, what the hell did you just tell me? Like, de veras. I think that's
hard hitting.
It's 100. It's 100 on that. I
And
gotta
it's
give it to him on that.
different.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, 100%. And I'm grateful for all these guys that have now became family, and just like they're under each other's wing, and that's what we created. And from the streets to the set, like we do these trips, like we go out of LA and we do team trips. We've gone to New York, we've gone to Colorado, because my biggest thing is like, I want to show you that there's a world outside of the street sign that you were willing to die for at the end of your block. You know what I'm saying? And from that component, it's like me paying it forward. I do everything in the essence of like, God worked through me, because you've restored a lot. And I think, you guys get bits and pieces of my life, but, from a child, like feeling the father neglect, the male neglect, then I was, abused sexually. I was molested as a kid. I became a teen mom, was verbally abused. Like all these components, lost my mom after, my mom's been gone. This year was her 9th year. But losing my godmom, then my brother, then a best friend, like all these losses. And recently my marriage, call it what it is. It's a loss. And, and for me to sit here and still have a smile on my face and look forward to the next day and rejoice, and have joy. Like, I'm not going to say find happiness, because happiness are just moments that you live. But until you learn to have joy, that no matter what happens, you're going to be all right and everything's going to be good. Like, I take pride in that, because everything that was built, and I'll say like by the enemy or allowed by God, because not everything is the devil, right? But things that are allowed in your life to happen build you and build that character. And all you have to do is stay in the process, like.
That's the hardest thing to do.
Oh, 100%.
As well.
Of
just
course.
Because you're as bad as you want to stay consistent, there's things that just get in the way, and it's like, fuck, man. When is this gonna stop?
I've seen Berenice. What I know you now. What, 6 years going on? Yeah. Give or take about 6 years. Yeah. I've seen her take from the streets to the set through a journey that not everybody's gonna see. Like she said, bits and pieces. But I've seen this, and I've witnessed a lot of it. She's allowed me to be on some of these sets, taking pictures. I know they were doing a music video in the Valley, and she had the whole from the streets to the set there, and it was for dude from Dubai, or where was he from?
Yeah, India.
India, right?
Yeah.
They were doing a music video for a India music artist. Yeah, and no
dancing and everything.
Yeah,
like the way that they do it.
Yeah, nobody understood the music, but you could feel the beat, and everybody's just all gangstered up, and and I love that she does this. That she takes people, gives them that different style of life, that
exposes them to something different.
Exactly, and I think that's why I'm saying, I was like, man, she's doing something crazy, and I love that about her. And I was like, yeah, you know what, I kind of feel, what she's doing. I want to roll with them for a little while, and she was allowing me to just pop up here, take pictures here, and I'll never forget it. It was like, man, like, all right, I see what you're doing, and I didn't know this world. Yeah. I didn't know, taking pictures, you don't come across certain people that you get to interact with, and I got to interact with a lot of them, and I think I made some very good friends out of them. A lot of them, like I talk to C's, all the time. Shout out to George, Alex. I think the shot that I did with Alex in the chair series, because I got him in my chair series project, and we went to the juvenile hall that he was incarcerated in. Like, he even jumped the fence to go over inside the juvenile hall and everything. So it's kind of cool, and I love that you have these people, and they're surrounded with nothing but positivity, and you've taken them from set to set to set. How many times have you sat back and just realized, damn, I did this? And just, I know you're smiling, but the whole time did you realize like you can do bigger and better each time? Like, how many times have you felt that way?
I want to hear this, just because.
That's an emotional, I still have a hard time thinking that I was capable of doing this, And so when these guys, I've had Alex, to like, boss lady, like, if it wasn't for you, and it's hard for me to take credit, because again, like, I believe in a God, and I just feel like I'm a tool. Like, I'm just here on borrowed time and paying it forward. And when I do look back, there's times where I'm like, damn, God, like, you used me to do this, because to me, at the end of the day, there's been people out there that do see like the boss Berenice, the, like the cutthroat, everything, but trust and believe that everything I do behind that, there's like so much love behind that.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
Because to me, it's like someone believed in me, so I want to just believe in you until you learn to believe in yourself. And I sit back and I'm just like, damn, okay, we've been to New York. We've been to Guadalajara. We're on the big screen. Like, we've gone to red carpets. We've done a bunch of things. And it's like, I understand now why I had to endure everything I endured in my life so I could be that hope for someone else. And
Amen to that.
if some people ask me, and they have, like, if you could go back and change anything in your life, like not be abused, not be left with by your dad, like all these things, like, would you change anything? The old me would have been like, hell yeah, like this. The person that I am today, I'm like, absolutely not, because
then there wouldn't be no Berenice.
Yeah, there would be no Berenice.
It led you to the door that you opened, and you didn't just walk through the door by yourself and closed it behind you. You kept that door open and brought people along with you. And I go back to that one time that I say it all the time. It's my story, the only little story I have. When I stood there and I heard Paul Rodriguez say, I don't give a fuck about George Lopez, but I'll tell you what, he did something I couldn't accomplish in all the years I was in Hollywood. He opened up a door for us Latinos, Mexicanos, Chicanos. He opened up that door, and now we're rushing in. I'll give him credit for that, but I'll fuck him. But again, I think you opened the door, and I've witnessed it more than a couple times, where you've done things that nobody else has been able to accomplish. You got your foot in the door. Being a Chicana, being a Latina, being a Mexicana, we'll go both sides, right?
From the hood.
Look where you're at. You're up there, and don't get me wrong, it's a dope ass feeling. So you should give yourself a little bit more credit for that, especially because you've saved countless people from going back to what they only know, and that's the calle, that's being locked up, And you said it. You've gone through the motions. You've gone through obstacles of trying to fix people. Here's your way of fixing people without even having to fix them, because you're making them. Let me rephrase that. You're giving them that opportunity to create something out of thin air. And that's just by showing who they are with a bit of talent.
Yeah.
I think that's dope. I think your story is more to the point, and not a lot of people will give you credit for what you need to get credit for. I mean, that's why I'm not kissing ass or anything. I just want you to know it's being real, because I tend to speak from the heart. When I see people that are being real, I see it. I mean, you gave me a couple shots here and there, when I've done some photography for you here and there, and I love that. And that's why I say, if people don't know who this woman is, you guys better get to know. And I think your story right now just told a lot of it. And believe it or not, I think you've touched to the point where it's like, you have gone through so much chaos in your life that right now, I bet you that piece is just like, yep. While you're sitting back and that paycheck coming through and it says the amounts, and let's get it right. You're in the business because you're in the business.
Yeah.
You got your shot, but you didn't just take that shot. You created a whole new type of weapon that now I don't think anybody was ready for.
Yeah.
How many sets have you guys been on? Like, how many countless sets have you guys actually taken over from the streets to the set?
A lot.
You have an actual number? You don't know that number by any chance?
No, because even as films, I think I stopped counting at 15 films.
Oh, see, so that's good.
And then sets, I mean, just at the top of my head, Mayans on my blog, 911, This Fool, SWAT, all 6 seasons.
Speaking of SWAT, my wife and my daughter are big fans of that damn show. Shamar Mar.
Yeah, and The Curse on Showtime, and Gentified. There's some people on there.
I love Gentified.
I love that show. That show was the shit.
I don't know why it got
pissed
canceled.
off they canceled it.
Yeah.
Putos.
Bring it back.
So, so many, and even we're doing pre-production stuff right now that we're, films and short films and music videos. So I know I've been able to place at least over 250 homies on set. I know that 95% of them are now SAG eligible in a period of a year that they've been that they are with me.
That's badass.
Some of them are SAG actors now, so they're part of the union. I do have a Chicago branch, and in my Chicago branch, we have a total of about 50 guys in Chicago. And then we also integrated the Venezuelan community, the immigrant community, back in January. So we have my my panas de Venezuela over there in Chicago, and then we tapped into the music department. So we have our rappers, and then now we're recently taking over stages as well, not only sets. And then we added our photography component, and we get to train underprivileged youth that can't afford cameras or go to some type of photography class or anything like that. And we take them into their own neighborhoods, and we give them a camera sponsored by Leica. Shout out to Leica. So every semester I get gifted 10 cameras, and we bring in youth and we take them to their own backyard and like, show me how you see your neighborhood. And from that, we've done a 2-year run on that here and in Chicago. We're taking it to Denver at the end of this year, God willing. And we recently got the goal that we will be shooting at the World Cup in LAFC.
Wow.
Yeah, and then
That is.
I'm just saying that's big time right there, yo. That's big time.
Breaking news right there.
Yeah, and we're sending in our credentials, so when the Olympic comes, we'll also be behind the scenes of that.
So I just want to throw my hat in the ring for the Denver.
Can we throw our little hat in there? The Tate Media. Hey.
I know I'm not a big time photographer, so just call me up. I'll go to Denver with y'all.
No, yeah, and and that's what we want to do actually. Like, I'm glad you say that, because we are trying to get all our like nonprofit friends that are able to write grants and ask for funding and like hire us as consultants, because we are willing to go and give these classes, and we have the equipment, we have the professionals, and we'll put like a masterpiece at the end to showcase what we teach, And
I know you've also personally financed like Carnival Pictures. Shout out to Carnival Pictures. I know that has that movie,
The Lost Angels.
The Lost Angels, and then there was His Sun is Risen.
Sun Rising.
Sun Risen, right? Something like that. I know that you've personally been so involved with that. What other projects do you have that you're involved with right now?
Sheesh.
Like that you're personally helping and funding as well.
So we did, I would say, like, when we talk about funding in the Hollywood business, I'll say that a lot of the support could be location, not always monetarily, but, the background, the locations, the catering, stuff like that. It saves you a lot of money if we are able to, like, make a phone call and ask for a favor. So because I've been doing gang intervention in the communities for over 20 years, I have pulled pretty much anywhere from the Bay to South Central to San Diego to here. So the Sunrises was one of them. In Broad Daylight with Four Ways Entertainment. Addicted to You is another one with Sonia.
We just had Sonia.
Yeah, so I was an associate producer on her film.
Okay.
I'm a producer on Splash City for Burner, who they'll be releasing soon. Dying Flowers, which is another film from Four Ways that will be releasing soon. I'm in pre-production and about to shoot a teaser for Lifer with Free Bliss with Brian. So we're in that. Then the movies that are on platforms already are The Sunrises Again, and also Die Like a Man. Die Like a Man is a very special project to my heart. And the first Armenian director that gave us our shot to bring in 5 non-established actors, quote unquote, from our team to work side by side with established actors like Miguel Garcia, Mariela Molina, Corey Hardrick, Frankie Loyal, Cesar Garcia, and Ana Patalano, and we shared that set. And I actually debut as an actress in that movie, and I play the lead mom in that, and that's on Amazon Prime. So support it and go and check it.
Amazon.
Well, I already made it a point to watch it this weekend, so
yes.
Don't be cheap, gente. Don't be cheap.
Yeah, no, support it, and it's a rite of passage. What our men go through in the community, and why is it that every time to prove your masculinity or your manhood, it has to be through violence? So that's pretty much, ironically with that movie, I was living the real life story while I was on set. So I remember being on set for 12 hours and checking my phone and checking, and they're like, "Are you good?" The director, and I'm like, "Bro, like my son's not home yet," and like this.
Oh,
and
so
that.
you were still going through all that whole thing?
Wow.
100%.
That's when Eric gave him his shot at being on that scene. So yeah, all those projects, and we hope to have more.
Berenice, I have a question for you, and this is going to be a good one. I have to think it is. Where you're at right now, do you feel comfortable, or do you think you can achieve so much more? I think you said it a little while ago that we're on borrowed time.
Yeah.
But what do you see yourself doing next? Like you've broken the mold of what Chicano Hollywood has been trying to do. You've partnered up with Chicano Hollywood a lot. You've also done all that you have accomplished so far, with from the streets to the set. What's next?
Well, Pinky. Nice.
Trying to take over the world.
What are we doing today, Brain?
Manage Tapped-In Media.
I've been relinquished. I'm just saying. I'm not doing my job. She's gonna take over.
No, so for me, there is no such thing as getting comfortable, because you don't grow in comfortable places. So I'm always about what's next. And my biggest goal is have an Atlanta branch, have a Guadalajara branch, so I could employ homies that have been deported and know the language and are able to bring film.
When you say Atlanta, is it because you're trying to link up with Tyler Perry?
Yep. I'm calling that into existence. So Tyler Perry, if for whatever reason,
shout out to Tyler Perry.
He's actually watched this podcast. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Shout out to him.
We won't put it out there.
Because, I'm going to say, it's going to sound horrible, but whatever. It's my truth. Adam Sandler and Tyler Perry are two people that I will work with one day.
Speak it into existence.
That's right.
And I believe in their vision of, like, Adam Sandler always has his friends on his films, and Tyler Perry is so truthful about his stories and has his community on there as well. But I will call you out, Tyler Perry, in the most respectful way, because I admire the work. I see the Caucasian, I see the black, but like I got your Latino people,
and
so
there's a lot of
Latinos
in Atlanta.
There is some that he works with, but it's very minimal.
Yes.
And I think we need that brown inside that brown culture for sure.
Yeah.
I think you're the person to get it there. If you need the help, I'll make sure Russ and Daniel take care of this. You know what I mean? You let them know who they got to go talk to.
For sure.
No, definitely. I was flown out to Atlanta earlier this year, so I was on a panel, and I got to meet a lot of the execs at the Tyler Perry Studios.
So I was just joking about this. So you're for real. This is for real. Okay.
I'm for real.
Have you not been paying attention from the get-go?
I'm just saying, like I brought it up as a joke, but it's actually for real.
She is the boss lady.
I respect it. Because like I said, there's a lot of Mexicans in Atlanta. There is a whole community out there.
Yeah, there's a whole Latino film festival.
I think that's dope as hell. You know what? I see you taking over that market, and I see you really doing something. Because you've already set the precedents here.
Yeah.
You've set the precedents in Chicago, and I've seen you do this. And again, not because I know her or anything. It's because I'm paying attention to stuff. I do pay attention to a lot of things. And it's funny because I always say, like, these people are going to, I pointed out, these people are going to blow up. And when they blow up, it's going to be a fucking dope thing, because you know what? They're opening those doors. And I love that. I love that our culture, and I mean it in a respectful way, because I'm not dissing anybody. With everything that's going on right now, we're not going to go in that direction, right? But I love that we're pushing the narrative, because our shows get canceled right away. But you know why they get canceled right away? Because they're scared of us.
Yeah.
And I've said it, and I think everyone else has said the same thing. Do you feel that way? Like people are scared of our culture coming in and dominating it as strongly as we can?
100%. But I will also not only blame the outsiders of being scared of us, I blame ourselves for being scared of us, because a lot of fear cripples people.
Yeah.
And I think Again, like you said, I love my people. I love my culture. I love my Chicano movements. I love all that. But we keep doing this like quinceañera dance amongst each other at events that we go to. And we're all trying to strive to go to the next level. But all of us are still lacking some connections, some financial money, some doors to be open. So I've had people call me in the back, oh, you're Stella, you forget where you come from. No. I'm just trying to get to the next level. So when I get there and the door's open for us, I'll come back and get you. You know what I'm saying? So if that means mingling with the white man that you guys like to call, or the black man, or the Asian, or the Jew, or whatever, like, I'm there to be of service and represent us in that. But if we keep holding ourselves back because, oh, we have to move as a unit. Oh, we have to, like, if I go, 20 more people have to go at the same. Sometimes you got to make that move solo. So then like that, you could come back. And here's the thing, not bashing people, because we're all children of God. But there are some people that are dead weight, that and it's not that because you don't belong in this realm of success, you just don't belong there at that moment.
True.
So therefore,
I love that.
So therefore, it's like God's timing. Know when it's your turn or when it's your colleague's turn. Or and here's the thing: the beautiful thing about God and your purpose in your life is that what He has designed for you, I don't care if 1 million people go towards the same thing you're trying to go to. If it's yours, it will be yours, and nobody will get to it. And you know, we all have a skill, and I can learn from you the way you can learn from me and everything. But if we keep focusing and placing our vision of what the next person is doing, then we run into that mentality of like codependency, but also that entitlement that like God has to do it for me the way they did it for him or her, or like God might, I mean, look at, there's a lot of people that went to film school. I didn't. And I've been in doors that a lot of these people that paid a lot of money to do. Like, I was listening to the sermon, and it's like, God already paid the price for some of these places that you're going to go into, and I go into them for free. I don't have to like kiss no one's ass or like, you know, pay for this or pay for that. Like, what you're aligned to is what you're aligned to. And I've been saying this past weekend, and I hope it stays with some people, is stop staying in your seasonal assignment, because then you lose the fact of your lifelong alignment. If you keep seeing like, oh, I'm in this season, and then you're stuck there, bro, this is why everything's passing you by, because this is only a season for that. There's a bigger purpose, a lifelong. And there's also people that want like, así, rápido, success. But anything worth having is going to take time and patience.
Most definitely.
If you get it fast, you lose it fast, you know? So for me...
And for some, it just comes quicker than others too.
Yeah,
you know?
But I think
more power to them.
I think that's what you said, and the narrative is she's right. She's so right, because we as gente, and I say gente with respect, is we do step on each other when we shouldn't be stepping on each other. Instead of worrying about what this person's doing or that person's doing, or this person thinks they're bigger than me, or this, you go with that mentality. That's the mentality you're gonna lose right away. Yeah. That patience level is what's going to get you across the finish line and beyond.
I've had people, you know, just really quick, and I just want to set the tone for anyone that listens to this, is when I tell my talent, like, oh yeah, if they want to book you or whatever, like, tell them to go through your manager. It isn't about gatekeeping. It isn't about controlling. It's not about like, oh, I'm trying to play hard. Because I've had people like, I got to talk to her. Why am I talking to you? Or this, but would you be telling the white CEO lady at Paramount Pictures or Warner Brothers, like, no, I'm not going to talk to you, lady. I'm going to go talk. Like, no, you would follow protocol, right? Yeah. So why is it not like that with a Chicana hood boss that is just asking you to respect her professional etiquette? You know, like, if you want talent, that's how much I believe in my talent. That, yes, you should be able to contact me as a manager. and book my talent 100%, like you would for a Tyler Perry, like you would for, Eva Longoria, or you would for whoever,
Yeah, most
So
But it's a power trip too.
of course,
power trip.
and most of the time it's the power trip of like the sexism of like her, like her, it's like,
Who is she?
me, and even though, like I said, I have my moments where it's not all glory to me, but there is some pride in like, me, bro, because even though I look like this, I promise you that everything I do, I educate myself in. So when I look at things, I'm looking at it in a perspective, in a legal perspective, in a business perspective. And if I want to get to the next level, I need to stop thinking like if I'm doing nickel and dime businesses on the corner, because I'm not,
And at the same time, you're looking after your talent. You want to make sure they get what they're supposed to get.
And what they're worth,
Exactly.
And if people don't respect that, then it goes to show me that you don't even believe in them and you just want something for free all the time. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong in free work, because we all got to earn our stripes and we all got to earn our positions. And there's also investments that are even better than monetary. There's relationships that like Rene and me have built. There's relationships with other producers or whatever that our team has gone and done background for free, and now they're referring those names to paid contracts and whatever. So you pick and choose, but then also no te aproveches, because at the end of the day, it ain't about, we're Latinos and we got to look out for each other 100%. But then also people in other dynamics, they succeed because guess what? Like, the Asians go and shop in Asian markets and they go and support their own people. Yep. There's white people that go to farmer markets and they support their own people. And like someone's creating something and they go and support. And when it comes to us, it's like, it's that much, or like, what about the homie love and whatever. But you're willing to go and drop something for something.
I hate that so much.
Yeah.
When you give them the price, when you give them a price of like, hey, Rene, I need some photos. I'm like, all right, this is what I charge. And they're looking at you like, bro,
Like
how much?
You're not
how much?
You're not gonna hook it up.
I sat there one day and I somebody asked me for some shoot, and I was like, I go, it's $3,800 for a 2-hour shoot. They looked at me like, what? Bro, you doing free stuff like a month ago? And I'm like, yeah, that was a month ago. Bro, I'm not trying to say that I'm big or nothing, but it's like my time, my effort, the love that I gotta put into your photos. Yeah. And this is wear and tear on my equipment. I go, and I gotta lug this stuff around my gas and all that. I'm giving you homie love because I'm gonna show you love for those 2 hours, but I'm not gonna give you everything for free all the time. And some people get mad about that. I've had people like, that fool thinks he's big headed, he thinks he's this, and like, bro, like, are you mad at me because I'm telling you that I need to get paid for something I was doing for free for a long time for you? Now you're mad because I'm giving you a price? And with that being said, how many times did you have to ego check somebody? Like, no, yo, bro, like you're getting too big. Have you ever had to do that with some of your people?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's times where I have to remind, like, my son, que está carita, he got the body, everything. I'll be like, humble yourself, fool, but I'm also big on like, God could give, but he could also take. So one day you have it, one day you don't. So treat the CEO and the janitor the same way, because you don't know who's who on set or whatnot. So stay humble yourself, but don't allow people to humiliate you. There's a difference between humiliation and humbleness.
I love that. Hell yeah.
And
that's right.
so stay firm in who you are in your position, but also you're in the same position that anybody could take. Like, there's no such thing as like you're not replaceable or anything. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but I'm saying if you're an asset, great, awesome. Like, I believe I'm an asset in different aspects, but don't get it twisted. The day I get comfortable and the day I get too big-headed or whatever, the same way people are opening the doors to their sets is the same day they're like, no. Because people rather work with people that are humanitarian than to be on edge or famous, chasing something that's not always for real. So, all that before Instagram and all that shit, like, I've been doing the work. And at the end of the day, now you have Instagram and you have platforms, and the only reason that other people are getting showcased is, one, I know it's because I'm a female, and two, because you gatekeep to certain things that it's like, oh, we started this, we started that. Like, I'm going to tell you like this. If you've started it, awesome. Like, more power to you. So why not pass the baton to the next one and bless that person with the knowledge that you have? Because I do believe that when you don't do that, you block your own blessings. And then you're wondering why you're fucking stuck. Well, because part of being blessed is blessing someone else. God doesn't give you a gift for you. God gives you a gift to spread to somebody else. Yep. So at the end of the day, I think, like you said it earlier, there's a lot of things that I've done that people don't give me credit for. Like, I've made peace with that because I know God gives me credit for it. During the strikes, it was terrible, but I got to pay my rent. I got to feed my kids. I got to travel. I got to do a lot of things. So no matter what, he's provided. And that in itself gives me a peace of mind and a peace in my heart that I'm still doing the work. So yes, 100%, there's a lot more to do, because the day I get the day I get comfortable is the day that God reminds me why not to get comfortable.
Exactly.
And then here goes another drive and another like fire under my ass, but yeah, so the music industry, we're coming for you. The photography industry, I'm coming for you. The different area codes, international, I'm coming for you. And
podcast industry, you're coming for?
Actually, am coming.
You're starting a podcast, right?
Yeah.
Are you? Okay.
Yes, and we're gonna be called Las Vecinas, so that's already registered.
It's gonna be a whole lot of juice, man. Get ready.
So trip out, yes, it's gonna be a round table, picture the view and the real, but of Latina descent.
I love that. See, I love that. That's gonna be dope.
Also, pretty much things that people are afraid to talk about our culture. We're gonna talk about pedophiles in our families and incest and machismo.
Okay, y'all get ready.
And different things like that. And my biggest purpose with that, and I felt it heavy in my heart, is because one, I claim to be the chain breaker in my family. So therefore, I speak for the 3 generations that came before me, and I will speak for the 3 generations that come after me. So then my daughters don't have to live the same bullshit and repeat the same things that I had to live. And so somebody has to own the truth. I own my reality. I own the brokenness that I come from. I own every scar, every cut, every damage, every rejection. But then also, I'm not stuck in just owning that and shifting the blame. I'm owning it. And now, what can we do to talk about it so this doesn't keep repeating? And it's going to take at least to start with 5 strong women that are not afraid to being vulnerable and saying, like, this is what I've been through. And it's not about protecting my abuelita and the name and the family and all that shit. This is what it was, and this is what it is. And
so you're spilling the beans in this.
Everything.
It's what's needed right now. In all honesty, it is what's needed. I've been talking about this for a minute, and I think something like this would be groundbreaking, number one. Number two, there has to be a way to break the monotony of nuestras culturas that just, no seas chillona, now, do this, and we've gone through that enough. I think that's why we're so strong-minded, but at the same time, that's why we don't give people an opportunity to stand next to us. That's why we don't give people opportunities to be there for us when we need someone who catch us, because of that type of mentality. And I think what you guys are doing is going to be...
I think another thing with us is that we're so closed off with ourselves.
Most definitely.
A lot of times we don't allow other people inside because we're just too protective of ourselves with everything that we've gone through. Right. So,
But I mean, just like to give you guys a quick thing, right? Like, I'm big on love and affection. But when we come into the space, you have your little niece, your ve dale un beso a tu tío, and you push them, right? And ve, te estoy diciendo, and you get mad because there's not that affection or whatever. Like, when we sit and talk about these things, we're going to talk about how you just help that child ignore her sense or her ability to feel of maybe I'm not comfortable, and to ignore those signs. And you're pushing. And this is why a lot of our girls get abused by uncles and grandpas and blah, 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 blah. Because you tell them to shut it off because this is a person of authority and their family. So you have to go in. Because if my daughter don't want to kiss my brother or whatever, she want to kiss
we were raised that way too. My dad taught me that way. When you see your uncle, you shake their hand. And that's what I
there's
try to
a
teach my
difference-
son.
Yeah, there's
But
a
he kinda
difference with
like-
shaking hands, like I think, and being respectful of like buenas tardes, buenas
Yeah.
noches, ¿cómo están? Than to like, tu tío te está hablando and like you gotta sit on the lap and like give me a hug and like, because then we start teaching our girls to not pay attention to their sense.
Yeah.
And then you're
There's a certain
ignoring.
barrier that these little girls
Yeah, and
should
then
have.
that's why some women don't have barriers and boundaries because
Most
it's like,
definitely.
oh,
See,
well,
I said it. This is something that is needed. I'm telling you guys, because it's true. This is so very true, and that's what I meant by nuestra cultura, because of the fact that these are things that we need to talk about.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
have been so afraid to talk about it. I'm one of those guys that I don't give a damn. I tell people what needs to be told. I know I'm blunt. That's why I've stood aside from a lot of things because of the fact that I never wanted that type of fame, but I think now it's like I have a little platform. I'm going to talk about it.
Right.
And I'm going to let people know that this is things you do not do. And there are too many people out there that are weird-minded, too many people out there that are just sick in the head. And they don't talk about it because they're shielded by grandmas or grandpas and shit like
Right.
that. And that's the thing that I've always said. My grandma was blunt. If she didn't like it, my grandma, get that motherfucker out of here. I don't want to hear shit.
Yeah.
But that was the way it went down. And I was like, yo, you know what, grandma, you're right. You know, so
Yeah.
I think what you guys are doing is dope.
Yeah, I think it's gonna.
I love your
There's so many of those topics,
Yeah.
especially in our
It's-
culture.
I love the direction you're going in, and I love your basic statement. In this industry, authenticity is key. We train our real street community to turn their setbacks into comebacks, bringing healing through storytelling. I mean, that's stuff that literally people don't understand that stuff anymore. People don't understand respect. I think nowadays with everything that's going on, respect has gone out the window, and people don't realize that you're messing with somebody that literally has an army of fools that'll come at you. Need to watch out. Stop messing with her. Open the door for her and let her do what she needs to do.
If
With-
not, I'm gonna climb the window anyway.
There, exactly.
right?
You know what I'm saying? She's done it before. She's breaking in. You know what I mean?
She has to
gonna do
break
it.
windows. She's gonna break them.
So, you're here right now. What advice do you want to give a young woman that's coming up?
Damn it! You took my question.
I'm
That's
good at this.
coming
all good.
up.
That's
I'll
coming up
just-
into the game like this.
Okay.
Or even someone, a 15-year-old you that is,
Yeah.
right now.
I will say this for every girl, young woman that's coming up, especially in a male-dominant community, right? Stay true to yourself. This industry requires, not even this industry, this life now requires for you to be fake in so many aspects that you lose yourself in the midst of trying to please everyone. F everybody. Learn to love you. Learn to get to know you. So when you get to these rooms, these places, nobody sets a value on what you know you are worth. Because if you don't set the tone for yourself, you're going to allow everybody else to set it for you. And you're not going to be happy. And do what makes you happy and passionate about why you're trying to seek what you're trying to seek. There's going to be people that are going to tell you that you can't, you won't, you shouldn't. Silence those voices, because the only person that could stop you from getting to where you need to go is yourself. Everybody else is irrelevant.
I like that.
Straight
I
up.
like
That's
that.
right. Message.
And you don't have to be an Instagram model to
No.
come up. You don't have to get them BBLs or
My
them lip
girls
fillers.
and that I manage, and Rene knows, like Jen and Jake and Maribel and all of them, when they come and ask me for video vixens, I'm like, oh, wrong casting department, because I don't do that. And my biggest thing is, one, because I want to make it a point that the women that I manage are to be seen as mothers, that some of them are, sisters, that some of them are, and we're not sex objects. And what you should be paying attention is to what's in between your ears and not between their legs. And if I need to set that tone, then I will set it. So don't dare come and ask me to have one of my girls half naked in your video, because the answer is absolutely no. So if you want them to showcase a real skill,
I've never
we got
asked.
that.
Don't look at me like that. I never asked. No.
I didn't look at you because of that. I'm just saying, like, hey,
And
she's
but and not knocking the vixen model or anything, but there's underneath stuff there that you just gotta check why you do what you do and why your asset is your ass and not the brains that you could utilize, People say it's easy money, and if I got it, like, cool. I mean, so is prostitution and pimping and sex trafficking and selling dope, but eventually it catches up
At
to
some
you and
point
it
it
kills
runs
you.
out.
Yeah.
You get older.
So that's...
I'm like shocked sometimes, and I always get this. Well, Rene, you taking pictures of girls, in bikinis. I said, because that's what they choose to wear. I'm not the one that's charged of
You're
them.
not telling them what to wear.
I'm not telling them what to wear. I don't go and tell them, hey, I want you to show up. Unless I tell them, hey, it's going to be a black and white shot with shadows. I'm trying to do this artistic thing. If you're down, cool. If not, I totally get it. And, being married and I always respected my wife because she always tells me, that's not cool. You don't do this. You don't do that. And I respect that because I always take her with me to my shoots and I always tell her, babe, you're the one that's going to help me with the hair and the makeup and the clothing if there's a malfunction or something, I wanted to ask this with what you just said. Are you now ready to take on Hollywood if they gave you that opportunity? Can you say, hey, we're going to give you your own studio. We're going to give you the keys to the kingdom. Are you ready to do that?
100%.
That's right. That's what I wanted to hear.
100%. And
because it could happen, right? Because
more breaking news. More breaking news.
Someone could come and just say, you know what? You're running Paramount Pictures now. Hey, you're running something like that. I mean,
yeah. So I am in partnership. Ironically, another thing that was full circle. A lot of my things are full circle, by the way, guys. But my mom was a housekeeper to Nick Charter, which is the founder and owner of Voltage Pictures, and she was his housekeeper for 20 years. So he saw me as a teenager, rebellious, pretty much translating for her. And he's done, a bunch of Oscar and award-winning films. And I finally reached out because the fear of success didn't allow me to do it 8 years ago. And I just wanted to have something, a foundation before I go and reach for something, right? But we had a meeting last week and stuff, and maybe there's Voltage Pictures collaboration soon. Just
that's dope.
There,
y'all heard it here first. I'm just
Tapped In Media,
and this is why I'm very grateful that you came on. I'm very thankful for your story. I know that we've been pushing for a while, trying to get you on here, and I know
I'm very thankful. Honestly,
I've been bugging and she's like, yo, I'm busy this week. I'll call you back. I'm busy.
And they're like, who the hell is Tapped In Media?
Like, why are you calling me? Stop calling me. No. But you know what's funny is when I originally asked her, she was like, yeah, I'm down. She was, but my schedule's crazy, and I'm like, I know. So you let me know what works for you. Because I've been trying to get her in my project, the picture series, and we finally picked a date, I think, right?
Okay. Sunday. Yes, right? Okay.
It was Sunday, right?
Yeah.
But you see, I respected the fact that she was busy, and I kept telling you, I'll get her. Finally, when I gave her some dates, she was like, cool. So I'm thankful that you showed up on the show. I apologize that we're now full circle here with the show.
No, you're good.
Russ, and I'm not going to say anybody else's name.
Look, who was meant to be here today was meant to be here today.
That's right.
I don't question anything no more. I'm like, look, God, put whoever needs to be there. Let it be you working through this, and how it's going to flow, it's going to flow. Who's meant to hear this will. What's meant to come out of my mouth, let it be you giving me the grace to do it. I'm grateful for you guys, and I know that you said it jokingly right now, like Tapped In Media, that small podcast. But to me, I always tell my actors there's no such thing as a small role. Like there's no such thing as a small project or a small podcast or anything like that, because this is still a platform where you allow people to be themselves. And any place like that, I don't give a shit if it had one follower.
We got 6 right now, I'm just saying.
Your voice needs to be heard. Sure. And everything starts from something. So
yep.
At the end of the day, I'm grateful for you guys allowing me to be in this space. And
the honor's all on this side, honestly. Because your story is just one of the one of the most incredible ones, just because, again, you come from the streets, former gang member, to building this. I mean, I guess I'll say it, empire.
Yeah,
An empire.
it is.
You know, bringing in people that had no idea that there was this whole other life, you know, in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and for them to get that kind of opportunity coming from you, it's like, I don't. There's, you can't really compare it.
I'm gonna be on the Mayan season 8. I'm just saying, because the streets from the set.
And if you need a backup actor, I've done background acting.
100%. No, well, thank you.
I always try to put myself out there.
Thank you guys so much.
No, thank you for coming. We, like I said, we really appreciate it. Thank you for your time. I know the drive was a lot.
Hopefully the tacos made up for it. I'm just saying.
I know.
Talk about good.
Talk about good. Shout out to Javier for providing that. Thank you.
Shout out.
And then like I said, the honor's all on this side, and forever grateful. And hopefully, in the near future we can collab on whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Where can people find you at?
Just be a forgotten podcast from you.
Where can people find you at?
Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, From the Streets to the Set, and our website is under construction, but that will be From the Streets to the Set.
That's right. Are the applications gonna be able to there so I can put myself in?
Yeah, there will be applications for all the departments, and also for the people that don't want to be in front of the camera. We are my brothers, Four Ways Entertainment. Big shout out to Davey, Alex, John. They're my partners, so we're creating a format like where we teach script writing and like camera and just bringing a project to life. So again, for the ones that are interested, we're willing to partner up with you guys, bring in some things to life, and we're also trying to bring something into the prisons and juvenile halls to give these young men and women an outlet, and
for sure,
and remind them that they matter, and that their story is worthy. So that's next.
That's awesome.
Gracias,
you want to throw out where people can follow you?
I'm nobody. I'm just the guy here that's filling in. You can find me at Rene _Poet King _ Rodriguez. I'm just a photographer here and
just
there.
a simple photographer.
Yeah, I do small lighting. I'm just saying.
No, he did great, amazing work.
Right?
Yes.
Put yourself out there a little more.
You know what? Here's the thing, and I stay humble. I am humble. I stay hungry for a reason, because I just want to live life to its fullest. That's
and sometimes
my saying.
he just rants.
I do rant. I get pissed off, but let's get it right. I get mad for the right reasons, because I'm a full advocate. I'm a son and a grandson of illegal immigration. So don't come at me with sideways, because you're gonna get nothing but an earful. That's all I'm gonna say. So I'll leave it at that.
Amen
But
to that.
This is Tapped In Media. I got my boy Daniel. He's gonna tell you who he is and what we do. But this show literally has gone from the small little platform. They're working their way up, and I've been blessed to be able to give them a little bit of direction. And I love bringing in people that are real, people that are gonna give their stories the right way. And I love that they take control of this. So we're gonna keep doing what we're doing. Next week you'll have Ross. It's a Ross. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have Russ on the next
sleep
one.
right here, you know what I'm saying?
But you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Tapped In _Media. It's the same all across the board. And then obviously on YouTube, that's where we have all our interviews, which is Tapped In Media. So go ahead and go there, subscribe, like. That's the best way to support us. That is the best free way to support us. We're not asking for any money. So all it is just a little click and another little click. That is it. That's all we ask for. So we appreciate everybody that's been supporting us, everybody that's been following us, everybody that's helped us grow as we're growing, and people like Berenice who come on our podcast and bring along their people and support us because of the support that she has, and as well as all the other guests we've had, and because of Rene, and so we thank you guys. And then as always too, something that I haven't really done, but shout out always R.I.P. Big Mike, because if it wasn't for him, our ways of going about it probably would have been a lot different. And linking up with him was obviously another way of the way we do things now.
Huge shout out to Big Mike. Rest in peace.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Appreciate Lizette, Big Mike again. May you rest in peace. Thank you for everything. And thank you, Berenice, for
you guys.
coming here again.
That's right. That's right.
Till the next one.
Yeah.